What is up, everybody? Ray and Brennen back again with Franchise Tag Fantasy Football to bring you the Panic Button Room Show. All of those things, the things that you're panicking about. We're going to get to that in just a second. Look, if you guys have something you guys are fretting about, you guys are panicking about, you guys are worried about, I need you guys to drop that in the comments as fast as you can, because we are going to get to those quickly so that you know, like, hey, is this something I should be worried about? Is this something I'm going to be waiting about? This is what we're going to cover today. Brennen, is there any news that you want to cover for tomorrow?
Yeah, so for all those that were wondering about Kenneth Gainwell, they're practicing, so they have a Thursday game, which technically would be tomorrow for you guys. He didn't practice for rib injury, so if he doesn't practice again tomorrow, he's probably going to be in questionable, be doubtful to play. And Deontay Johnson is confirmed to have pulled his hamstring, so he'll be out multiple weeks.
Yeah, and his hamstring injury did not look like one that somebody's going to be coming back from next week. It didn't look like that.
It looks like multiple. The way he acted made it seem like it came off his bone.
That's gross. Thinking about that's so gross. I would say that we're going to talk about one of the guys that's very relevant for this whole conversation. Any other pieces of news that you'd like to cover?
I've got nothing.
If you guys have some fab stories, some, hey, I spent this much amount on X player, but somebody beat me with some crazy number, let us know in the comments. I want to know what somebody spent on Puka. I want to know what was the highest number you guys saw.
I mean, we'll find out in a little over an hour or so.
I guess so. That's right.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna find. We're recording this pretty late. Want to jump right into this?
Let's do it.
Let's do that. Let's do that shit.
Yes.
All right, so let's do it live, but not live. Let's just start off with something hot, right? Let's start it off the hottest week and the heatest of the hot of the heatest of the sun. Hot.
Yep.
All those things. Garrett Wilson, are you panicking right now?
Yes, internally I'm panicking. I'm not showing my league mates though. I'm not showing my league mates I'm panicking. I've been offered some trades already. I was offered in a half. I have him in 2 leagues, a full point and half point. So I've seen some offers online. Some people were offered Keenan Allen for Garrett Wilson, a full point PPR. I would accept that in a heartbeat. I not even double thinking about that. But in my half point league, I was offered Mike Evans, and that's very tough to think about.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't, because now you're banking on Baker instead of Garrett, instead of Zach Wilson.
I'll bank on Baker before I bank on Zach Wilson.
That's so rough.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that he comes out next week. He's not going to come out next week and look better, honestly.
No, against the Dallas Cowboys defense, who looked phenomenal.
That's okay. So this is where I'm getting at. Okay, I'm panicking hard on Garrett Wilson, but I'm not selling yet. I'm not selling, and I'm definitely obviously not dropping. That'd be crazy. But I don't think I want to sell because I don't think that you're going to get anything back from it.
No.
And if you sell, that after the next week, he's got a tough schedule. The Jets have a tough schedule.
Yeah, their first
and
4 weeks
anybody out there saying that there's some sort of scripting going on in the NFL, do you think the NFL scripted this Aaron Rodgers injury so that they had 5 primetime games with Zach Wilson in them? I don't think so. That didn't happen. So I want to ask you, Brennen, and this is just a couple hey, are you ready to start this guy or sit this guy? Garrett Wilson or Puka Nuka-Cola?
I would start Puka this week over Garrett Wilson. I would do it up until Cooper Kupp got back, to be honest with you. Because when you get over 10 targets and you catch 90% of them, whatever it was for him, those are real numbers. And he looked phenomenal. He looked really good. I get it. Garrett Wilson is super talented. That touchdown catch was unbelievable. But he's literally going to do those kind of catches when Zach Wilson throws him the ball. So and Dallas Cowboys defense is so good. This team, there's rumbles, right? Obviously, they made it very clear that Zach Wilson's the starting quarterback. What do you want the head coach to say? Do you want him to say, no, he sucks, we're going to go find somebody? He's going to back up his guy up. They're actively searching for a veteran quarterback. There's names. Jameis Winston's been thrown around.
Please, God, please, for the love of Jesus, and whatever deity you're listening to and watching this, please, God, please bring J-Bo in. If J-Bo was the starter right now, I'd be so pumped.
Yes.
League winner.
Realistically, I think Carson Wentz is probably the betting favorite if I had to imagine. I think like another guy, like I've mentioned, I told Ray and Aaron, is that like Jacoby Brissett makes sense, and even Andy Dalton makes sense. Those guys, they don't turn the ball over. They're very accurate, and that's what this team needs right now. They just need a quarterback to be a game manager. They don't need someone that's going to win them games. That's why I don't think Jameis Winston makes a lot of sense, because this defense is legit. So I could see them just going and being safe and getting a guy who's just going to be a game manager and just, be similar towards like a Desmond Ridder, 15 for 18, 130 yards, and Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook just run the ball endlessly.
It makes me think, if you said Desmond Ridder is where the floor is, it makes me think they stay with Zach Wilson, and that pains my soul.
That's a possibility.
Couple more would you rathers, or
okay.
Just because we went on Garrett Wilson for a while, but I understand people watching the show. Garrett Wilson, I get it. It sucks. God, it hurts so bad for me. Garrett Wilson this week against the Cowboys, or George Pickens against, I don't even know who the
Cleveland is playing. I think it's Cleveland. Yeah,
against Cleveland. But
I mean, you took Garrett Wilson in the second round, and I understand. Like, I would do it this week. I think this is going to be two really good defenses going at it. Garrett Wilson's going to lead this team in targets, and I want to start the guys going to lead the team in targets. And I know George Pickens is going to lead the team in targets. It's hard. I don't mind you starting George Pickens over Garrett Wilson, but I'm going to ride it out one more week with Zach Wilson. I think this will be not a tryout, so to speak, but I think they'll kind of weigh out their standings with everything with that. And I think they're going to sign a quarterback. Obviously this week they have no choice, or make a trade within the next 48 hours. But, Zach Wilson will be on a short leash. This team is very talented. They have aspirations to go to the playoffs.
For me, I'm starting George Pickens.
I don't hate it.
I do not. If Zach Wilson was under that much duress against a Bills pass rush, he's going to be murdered. Murdered. There's going to be murder. Not muck duck.
Carson Wentz is not terrible for fantasy purposes. He will throw to Garrett Wilson in triple coverage. He does not care. He's reckless. So I think it'd be better than Zach Wilson, but it's not by much.
What kind of goats do I have to sacrifice for J-Bo to go to New York? What do I got to do? What do I got to do? All right, so I think that's enough on Garrett Wilson. Yeah. That's a lot. Next guy we're going to talk about here, Brennen. Who are we talking about?
We're going to talk about DeAndre Swift. So, like I mentioned, Kenneth Gainwell, his status, I think if he doesn't practice tomorrow, it's going to be doubtful for the game. Ribs injuries for running backs never good. I mean,
all the running backs.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be between him, Boston Scott, and Rashad Penny. And if Kenneth Gainwell's out, and DeAndre Swift should be the guy. I think we all can agree with that. If you're going to start somebody in that backfield, it's going to be DeAndre Swift. The coach came out and said, I need to get the ball to him. So Kenneth Gainwell is out. This is kind of DeAndre Swift's kind of, I guess you could say, tryout, because Kenneth Gainwell got 14 of the 16 touches last week. So
I still don't understand what they're doing. I don't get it. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. If Kenneth Gainwell's out, I'm firing up DeAndre Swift, because I believe that he should get the majority of those carries. They didn't scratch Penny because they thought he had something, and I don't care what Boston Scott. You're really going to put Boston Scott in over DeAndre Swift? No.
But would you be surprised if Boston Scott led the team in carries, though? Would you really be surprised with what the Eagles do?
I would. That would be the most surprising thing. Yes, to me, because
I wouldn't be shocked necessarily, but I would be Swift. I'd be upset, but at the end of the day, the Eagles do weird things.
They spent. It doesn't matter what it was. They spent draft capital. They sucked that trade out. They initiated that trade, so they wanted Swift in the building.
Yeah,
and they didn't necessarily believe in Kenneth Gainwell because he got no burn with Miles Sanders, which is legitimately a mediocre running back. Like, he's not a great running back by any means.
Yeah.
You know, I don't get it. DeAndre Swift or James Conner this week, if Kenneth Gainwell's out.
Man, I think I'm leaning slightly towards James Conner. James Conner didn't look bad last week, to be honest. Like, he really didn't. He didn't kill you. So I think I'll stick with James Conner one more week.
Okay. So I'm assuming that you're not necessarily hitting the panic button under DeAndre Swift, but you're very close.
Oh yes, I'm inching towards that. If Kenneth Gainwell plays and is somehow healthy and he leads the team in snaps, I'm really worried.
Yeah, if he leads the team again in snaps this week after even having an injury at all, like if he does that at all, DeAndre Swift is a cut candidate. Not even a candidate. He needs to be cut. He needs to be put on the waiver. Let somebody else deal with that problem. He needs to be off your roster. One that really hurts me. The next one hurts. Like all these guys hurt my feelings so much.
Yeah.
Christian Kirk. How much are you panicking on him?
I'm panicking pretty badly because he's third in that depth chart. It goes Calvin Ridley, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, and then Christian Kirk. Might
even be Travis Etienne, then Tank Bigsby, then Christian Kirk. That's how that broke down last week.
They might. I mean, they're playing the Chiefs this week, so the Chiefs have a really good defense. So I think they're going to spread the ball out a little more. If at a level of 1 to 10, I'm at a 6 with him because that was one reception and only I think 2 targets. 2 targets. It's pretty scary because Calvin really looked really, really good. So that is the number one guy there. Yeah. So if you have Christian Kirk, I'd be a little worried. If you had him as your wide receiver 2, I hope you spent some fab and got like Puka Nacua or Kendrick Bourne, something like that to kind of like maybe shift just in case, just kind of hold off this week to see what he does. But yeah, I am pretty worried about Christian Kirk.
Yeah, I'm at a 7 right now, and if you see another week of not really being a part of the offense anymore, or kind of being phased out, because let's be serious, like for a second, Zay Jones was the first top 10 pick. Calvin Ridley was also a top 10 pick. And so was Evan Ingram.
They're all first rounders.
Yeah, they're all first rounders, and if they have the talent, that's what I'm saying. If he is 4th in that talent tree and he's just not really involved anymore, I think he's a cut candidate for me. And it sucks because I don't want to cut him because you did spend good capital on him. But at the same time, this is where you need to start being fluid. And I think that's the move right now. Really, like I'm holding hesitantly.
Okay. Are you starting George Pickens or Christian Kirk?
George Pickens.
Okay.
With the volume that has to go his way.
Okay. JSN or Christian Kirk?
JSN right now because I think that offense writes itself. And I think that with Tyler Lockett injured, he's going to have to be involved.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty worried. The next guy is he's right there with him. It's Drake London from the Falcons. How worried are you with him?
A 9.
Yeah.
9.
That offense is going to be between Bijan and Tyler Algier. So if you drafted Tyler Algier, you got an RB2 for a good while because I can see both those two being 1,000-yard rushers or being pretty close to it.
Even
both of them.
Even when Bijan does really take over the backfield, I still think Tyler Algier is going to be involved, and that's just because Arthur Smith wants to run the ball 50 times a game.
He's playing for his job. You got to be. I mean, I don't blame him. Like Desmond Ritter's your quarterback. Like I feel more comfortable taking Bijan or throwing it with Desmond Ritter, who's he was 4 for 4 for 0 yards. Like what?
He didn't look good.
No, I get it, Falcons fans. Like you have a great defense, you have a good run game, and Desmond Ritter's not going to turn the ball over. But holy, like I hope this team this next offseason trades up to go get a top quarterback. That's
the crazy part, right? Like they didn't make any like sustainable moves.
No.
Again, they just went and got Jabo. Again, like he is the answer to all so many teams' problems, and like no one wants to give him a chance. It's crazy. No, at least like really how I want to see it. I just like watching him play because he's fun. He's fun to watch. That's really what it is.
Yeah,
he doesn't give a shit.
So for Drake London, are you playing him this week? Because he's got the Packers. So no?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay.
I was again at the Packer game. I saw how much that Jair traveled with DJ Moore.
Okay.
Who in the hell do you think he's going to travel with the most on Atlanta? It's going to be Drake London.
Yeah.
And I see DJ Moore as a better receiver than Drake London right now.
Okay. Elijah Moore at Drake London.
Ooh, Elijah Moore. And that you can keep going on the list. It's going to be whoever.
Kadarius Toney.
Oh, how did you find the line? How did you find it? How? Kadarius Toney only because of Patrick Mahomes. And my God, is that a low bar?
I mean, you had to find it somehow.
That's so gross.
Yeah,
that's so gross.
If you're a Drake London owner, I mean, I get it. You draft him in the 5th round. It's your wide receiver 2. I mean, I get it. He's talented. I would just, if you have other options to pivot, like a later round guy you took in the 8th, like I don't even know. Like, what about Rashad Bateman?
Yes.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where you have to really be mindful of, like, they're playing the Packers. Packers have a really good defense. Like, you're now you're thinking of matchups because of guys like that, and unfortunately. But if I have Drake London, I guess these are the kind of the weeks you can kind of play with a little bit. You can be 0-2 and still come back, 0-3 and still come back, but just know that, like, you got to start making these decisions a little bit quicker if you want to be competitive. So yeah, Drake London's at an 8 for me for sure. I'm panicking. Like, it's this next week's. I think a lot of Drake London owners their buttholes are puckered.
You can't even package him with it. He's worth nothing right now. So
yeah, I wouldn't take a trade offer for anything from Drake. I don't believe in Desmond Ridder. So I didn't draft Kyle Pitts. I didn't draft Drake London. I don't mind Bijan because I knew they're going to run it. So that's why I took Tyler Algier too. So next guy on the list is Rachaad White.
Again, he didn't look great. Baker didn't look bad at the end of the game, you know? So
yeah. Let me give you a stat here. I sent it to you earlier. Rachaad White recorded negative 38 rush yards over expectation. That's so bad. That means he did not find the holes of where he was supposed to go. And that, like, we should have mentioned another guy, which was Trey Tucker, I believe, their backup and the undrafted guy. I mean, he didn't get all the touches, but I think, let me see here. His name's Sean Tucker. He had 5 attempts for 15 yards. But it's still better than what Rachaad White did, which was 17 attempts for 39 yards.
It's not good.
No.
I think we can couple him with another running back too.
Yeah, he was in, like, the receiving work wasn't there either. He only had 2 receptions, so like it's not like some crazy stat line. Rachaad White's someone I definitely would watch for the next coming weeks. So they play the Bears, and last week they played the Vikings, which wasn't a great defense either. So the Bears don't have a good defense either. So if you don't see it this week, I would be panicking.
Yeah, I'm panicking pretty hard, and he's a drop candidate for me. I know that we didn't put him on the list, but also Cam Akers, he's going to lose that job.
Yeah, it's a weird situation. I have Cam Akers. I'm at like a 4 panic level. Like I told you guys earlier, out of the 24 of the 26 plays he was on the field, they were run plays. So the defense kind of picked that up. So they play San Francisco this week, which isn't any better of a defense to go against. So I took Cam Akers out. I'm starting Tyler Algier over him this week.
Yes.
I would just monitor. We'll see what they do. I would take this next game with a grain of salt because San Fran's defense looks really good. If Kyron Williams does run wild over San Fran, then that's when you'd be like, oh, okay, it's time to worry. But I'm at a 4 with him. And if they both struggle, I'm not too worried. And they go next week. But yeah, I'm at like a 4 with him.
I'm at a 6. And if Kyron runs significantly better than Cam Akers is 100% a cut because he's going to lose that job right after that.
Yeah. Next guy on the list we have is Jahmyr Gibbs. How worried are you with him?
A 2.
Yeah, about the same.
A 2.
I mean, the coach came out and said they're going to ease him in, and obviously when we watched him play, he touched the ball like 8 times, and they were just electric every single time. He was clearly the difference maker of the backfield. The coach came out afterwards, said we're definitely giving the ball more. It was clearly evident they needed to give him the ball more. So those, I get it. If you panicked, don't sell him, don't trade him. Wait, he's definitely a hold. I wouldn't worry too much.
Yeah, he's a 2 for me, and I wish that I could make trades to go get him, but the people that have him in every league that I'm in want nothing to do with what a trade.
If I'm owning Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm not trading him either because you took him in the 3rd round or even the 2nd, so that's high expectations. That's definitely a hold.
Yeah, and like you said, every time he touched the ball, he looked damn good.
Yeah,
he looked exactly like what we told you he was going to look like. Just he didn't touch the ball a lot, so
yeah.
Crazy.
The next guy on the list, a little more, just the gameplay might have been different, but Dameon Pierce, played against the Ravens defense, but I will tell you the Texans O-line did look really bad.
Very bad.
Ravens defense is really good. Don't get me wrong, but like there 2 things can't be true at once. Ravens defense is good, the Texans O-line are bad. And I believe both of those are true. So, and his usage was actually his lowest since his rookie year. He was only in the field less than 50% of the time. So, how worried are you with Dameon Pierce?
I'm sitting at around a 6 or 7.
Okay.
I'm not I wasn't really high on drafting Dameon Pierce really anywhere. I know that he had a great season last season up until about the end of the season, and I know that he has an upgraded quarterback, but their offensive line is still god awful. They're going to be a negative game script more often than not. And I just don't see the value right now in Dameon Pierce. And I know that you can't cut him because you spent too much to get him. He's definitely at least your RB3, at the very least, your RB3.
Yeah.
And
11 attempts for 38 yards
that ain't good.
Nope.
That's not the good.
No. But I will say, though, his backup, Devin Singletary, had 7 attempts for 15 yards. No receiving work at all. Yeah. So Dameon Pierce is still going to be the guy. It's just a matter of, do you believe in the Texans offense going forward?
I don't.
And Stroud didn't look terrible, don't get me wrong, but if he's
didn't have time
like that, he just didn't have, literally every time he dropped back, he was just he was being pressured. So
yeah, he had 2. It honestly, the game looked like he had pissed off his whole offensive line, and they were like, hey, well, we're going to let this all happen to you now. That's exactly what it looked like. There was plays where I was like, he didn't even get the ball in his hands yet he had 2 people staring him in the face that were not wearing Texans jerseys. And I'm like, what is happening? I get that their offensive line was bad, but not that bad. It was awful. So, and I thought that even under pressure, CJ Stroud didn't look awful. He looked like a rookie, but not a bad rookie. He looked fine. Just you can't do anything if you don't have.
It's a tough matchup against the Ravens defense. I try to remember that. Ravens defense have a good defense, and then everyone got injured on the Ravens team, which is just as a tale as old as time for the Ravens. Unfortunately, those two just get. I swear, the Ravens are cursed. They are a cursed team who just gets injured all the time. I feel bad for Ravens fans.
Yeah. Next on our list, Najee Harris. I'm very worried right now.
He was on my do not draft list. So
he was on. Yep.
He was on my do not draft list. I think he's the 2nd best running back on his team. Granted, he faced San Francisco's defense. He only had six rushing attempts for 31 yards, 2 receiving receptions for 2 yards. I get it. They played San Francisco, but the Steelers still have Matt Canada as their play caller. And if that doesn't change, this team is going to be bad. I really, really hope Mike Tomlin makes some assessments because Matt Canada is a terrible play caller. I think every Steeler fan is just waiting for the day he is fired.
Yeah, and I hope that the offense turns it around, but for Najee Harris's sake, I don't know. Jalen Warren didn't look awful.
He didn't look awful. No,
he looked better.
Yeah, I don't. It's just, it's going to come down to if Kenny Pickett, I get it. They started off like 2-6, and they finished the season 8-1.
Yeah.
So like, I just don't know if they can do that again this year because they do have aspirations to go to the playoffs. I mean, I think this team is they're always a gritty team, good defense. They face San Francisco, which I think is the most complete team in the NFL. So it's tough to go off of this one. They play the Browns, and the Browns defense looked really good. Like Jim Schwartz fixed that defense. It was a night and day difference against them. They made Joe Burrow look bad. Like worst game of his career bad.
Yeah, like, hey, maybe T. Higgins should have been. You didn't put T. Higgins on this list?
No.
All right. Well, I guess we're not. I would say like at a 3 right now for T. Higgins for me, but like that doesn't matter. Najee Harris, like, my God, I don't know, like how I see it, and this is why he was on my do not draft list, and I think he was on yours as well for this exact reason, is that he's a volume play. That's what he is, a volume play. You take away some of the volume, now he's just a play.
Yeah,
and not a good one.
No.
You saw it last week, and I think you're going to see a lot more of that this season because Jaylen Warren is at least as good as Najee Harris as a running back.
I think he's better.
He is at least as good. He's shown it.
Najee Harris is the big dude who can hold the ball and run. Not fast, not quick, just make good cuts. Doesn't do anything that I think when you look at a running back, I think he's, out of all the Alabama running backs, he's probably the worst one to come out of it.
Is this what I sound like when I talk about Tua?
Oh, no. You slander that man way, way worse. That's like, there's levels to this, and you take that, like, you think he's not even a top 15 quarterback.
It's top 20, really. He's not a top 20 quarterback.
God, I'm not.
Yeah, it's a personal vendetta at this point.
Dude, that's just ridiculous.
Personal vendetta. So, last guy we have on this list, and just so you know, Najee Harris, I'm at like a 5, 6, 5 right now, 5.
I mean, I don't. If you have him, I'd panic, but I'll simmer my hatred down. It's like a 5.
Yeah, like that sounds right now, but like if he shits the bed against Cleveland and you get nothing out of it, that 5 jumps to a 9 really fast.
Yeah,
extremely. You can't trade him. Can't. But if you cut Najee
for him, you can't cut him. No, absolutely not. He's still the guy. He's still going to get the touches, but it's just a matter of him being like 13 attempts for 38 yards and 3 receptions for 6 yards, and you hope he gets a touchdown. You really hope for that touchdown, that goal line work. That is what you are begging for at that point with that line to make it a viable start.
Steelers offense doesn't look like they're going to score a lot of touchdowns right now. That was just last week, but like, you know, it didn't look like they were.
I'm on the train that Matt Canada needs to get let go.
I'm with you because it looked like shit last week.
Yeah.
Last guy is Davante Adams. For me, it's a 1. I'm not worried about it. I still think he's fine. He will, at the bare minimum, finish as a very high-end receiver too.
Okay. So wide receiver 15?
Yes.
That's his lowest floor.
I think so.
I will do a beer bet with you right now. He does not finish as that high.
That's crazy because like he still had 9 targets.
He did. You're right. But they're short little out routes because guess you can't throw far. Yep.
Let me see one more week. And I'll take that bet with you.
You're lucky Jacoby Myers is out because that man could be leading that team in targets. Like McDaniels, that dude likes his players. He likes who he gets. Davante Adams is not a part of that. I can definitely see Davante Adams asking for a trade out at the end of the year. Those are all what I'm saying is possible because I just don't know if he wants to be a part of that. They got the win. Jimmy G just finds a way to win. The guy just wins. I get it. And it's weird that his stats don't look good, but I swear he just finds ways to win. I thought for sure I had money on the Broncos. I thought for sure, I was like, oh, Broncos for sure would win this game. Nope. Russell Wilson's still Russell Wilson. Denver Broncos are still the Denver Broncos. They still find a way to somehow lose it. The kicker they cut, by the way, looked really good for the other team that he played for. Made the field goal that he made, not their guy they got. So Will Lutz.
I love slander on Russell Wilson. I really do.
Oh, I don't care for that man. That man's a joke and a half.
I'm all about the slander for him. Anybody doing high knees on a fucking plane when you're going on
Dude,
an away game?
11-hour plane ride over to England, dude. I don't know how his teammates didn't strangle him. Like,
all right. So is that all the ones we're worried about here?
yeah. Let us know in the
Okay.
comments, guys, if there's someone that you guys are panicking about. We can kind of give you some feedback.
Yeah, I'm with that. If you guys like these, I guess this is not really a short form, but it was supposed to be, but like we
Yeah.
went a little longer.
Yeah.
Who knows around here, right? Who knows? If you guys could please, let's stick around this long. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your family, tell the people you hate. I don't know, I don't care. Just get the word out because I'm trying to quit my job and do this full time. So, anything else, Brennan?
I got nothing.
All right, guys. Well, until next time, we will see you.